If your appointment setters aren't booking more sales calls right now, it's not because of the leads or because of work ethic. It's because of this one thing that you're probably doing wrong, and it's killing your results. And what I'm about to unpack is what that is and how to quickly fix it in this video. Hey, my name is Taylor. I've built multiple outbound appointment setting teams now over the years. I've built multiple seven-figure high-ticket companies and sales teams. Built sales teams of up to 25 people, all remote. I was Alex Hormozi's first closer. I've been in the sales game now for over 10 years, I guess so maybe 12 years now. I want to unpack how you can quickly design a better outbound appointment setting team based on my experience so that you don't have to go through all the heartache and the mistakes that I went through, so you can just, leapfrog basically to what's actually gonna work. So the real hidden problem here with having your appointment setters book more calls is actually having a very clear, repeatable system that can be followed. And I know system is that's an ethereal buzzword, Taylor. Yeah, I know I need a system. Well, let me unpack this for you. Because time and time again, when I come into a company and they either don't have an appointment setting team or they have an appointment setting team, the things that are happening is the setters are not actually given a very succinct sales process via a script and process, and they're not being trained and given feedback fast enough to escalate their performance. They're basically like, here's your script, here's the leads, the dialer, go, book me appointments. And it's almost like, hey, if I just hand this to you, you're just gonna magically do what you're supposed to do. Outbound calling in appointment setting is both activity, volume, and skill. The problem is if you don't reinforce the skill, then that activity ends up just you wasting leads, wasting money, having this turnover cycle and looking for the next solution over and over again when it comes to appointment setters. Because essentially these guys are gonna continue to drift off of the process. They're gonna form bad habits. And then now trying to train sort of an old dog new tricks becomes more difficult versus you need to have quick, immediate feedback, reinforce what works versus what doesn't work, and have someone who's giving constant attention and accountability to your setters. So how do you fix this? And this is a 3-part system I use to fix this process. So first, you have to have a clear conversation framework. And there's a conversation framework for each of your different lead types. Inbound leads have a different framework than outbound, right? Reactivating old leads is different than new leads. Rebooking or rescheduling no-shows is different than confirming appointments. Every type of lead segment should have its own clear conversation framework. So you need to have a script and you need to teach those setters, here's the hook, here's how you qualify the lead based on our qualification parameters. Here's how you tease the value of the next call. And here's how you tie down that call so that they actually show and want to show. So you need to have that groundwork laid out. Then 2, you need to have daily coaching touch points, right? So obviously you've got the quantitative data of how many dials did they do, how many connections did they have, how many did they book, what is the not interested disposition, the DQ disposition, etc. So you've got all of that in terms of analytics, but then you're listening to the calls for the qualitative side, so that way you know if they dispoed someone not interested, you know why they were dispoed to not interested, and actually maybe you could have saved a third of those not interested dispos into booked appointments had they just said this, right? And then you got to have an end of day review as well, where you look at what they did and then you give feedback to them immediately. You can have a dialer that has whisper mode where the sales manager can even give live feedback while they're on a call. You can have all those calls recorded and have a sales leader or an SDR manager review a few of those calls from each setter at the end of each day to see what they're doing. But when you have a clear conversation framework, and then 2, you're doing a daily touch point and looking at the data, and then 3, you're doing live coaching and feedback, that's how you're going to fix the system that your appointment setters get plugged into. So that way you know activity that they're doing and the skill level that they're having. Now from there, you can really start to structure stuff much, much better. You can look at connection rate times based on time of day, connection rate times based of day of week, and you can start to fluctuate appointment setter schedules to optimize those appointment booking windows and not, hint, hint, not do sales training or meetings during those high productivity hours. So basically, you need to treat appointment setters with the same value that you do your closers or your account executives. If they're they're not getting daily feedback and training, if what they're doing right is not being reinforced and what they're doing wrong is not being corrected immediately on a daily, weekly basis, they continue to flounder, they form bad habits, and all of a sudden you're wondering why they're not doing what they're supposed to do. I know this requires more work, it requires more oversight. That's business, right? Like, it is hard, and it requires hard things to be applied for the business to perform better. Now, hopefully this was helpful or maybe insightful. You can watch other videos I have where I unpack things on scripts, where I unpack things on lead filtering and lead management, how to set up dialers. Or if you're looking for specific help, maybe you want us to like audit your sales team. Maybe you want us to look at the dialer you have set up. Maybe you don't have a dialer. Maybe your script is not the right script. Whatever it may be, we have different resources. You can look in the description of the video below. So this is like how we get appointment setter teams to perform, right? So if they're not booking enough calls, this is what you need to do. Please give me your thoughts, your comments. What are you doing with your appointment setters? Or maybe you're like, I don't even know what an appointment setter is. Well, then you can look at some other videos. But let me know, give me feedback, and I've got more value coming for you. You can also watch some of my other videos. They're probably in the suggestion here on the right side in YouTube. Have a great day.